Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Durlabhu Manusho Deho Dehinam Shanabhangurai Tatrapi Durlabham Manye Vaikuntha Priyadarshana Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Namo Kinchana Vittaya Nivritta Gunavrittaye Atmaramaya Shantaya Kevalye Pataye Namaha Akama Sarva Kamo Va Moksha Kama Udaradi Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajate Purusham Param Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankaja Nabhaya Namaha Pankaja Maline Namaha Pankaja Netraya Namaste Pankajangriye. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4, Ambarîsha Maharaj offended by Durvâsâ Muni. So, yesterday, Sudhir Prabhu coordinated the class. We were reading about Ambarîsha Maharaj, his wonderful qualities, how he used to rule, how he used to engage in different sacrifices, his devotion, his bhakti, his citizens. And that's where we stopped, right? At text 25, chapter 4. So we'll continue from text 26. Is that right, Sudhir Prabhu?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So text 26, chapter 4, Canto 9. Saitham bhakti yogena tapo yuktena parthivaha Swadharmena harim prinam sarvan kaman shaner jahu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The king of this planet, Mahârâja Ambarîsha, thus performed devotional service to the Lord and in this endeavor practiced severe austerity, always satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his constitutional activities. He gradually gave up all material desires. Purport: severe austerities in the practice of devotional service are of many varieties. For example, in worshipping the deity in the temple, there are certain laborious activities. Shri Vigrahāradhana Nityanana Shringāratan Mandir Maharjanadu. One must decorate the deity, cleanse the temple, bring water from the Ganges and Yamuna, continue the routine work, perform arti many times, prepare first-class food for the deity, prepare dresses, and so on. In this way, one must constantly be engaged in various activities, and the hard labor involved is certainly an austerity. Similarly, the hard labor involved in preaching, preparing literature, preaching to atheistic men, and distributing literature door to door is of course an austerity. Tapo yuktena, tapo divyam putraka. Such austerity is necessary. Yena sattvam shuddhayet. By such austerity in devotional service, one is purified of material existence. Kaman shaner jaho. Indeed, such austerity leads one to constitutional possession of devotional service. In this way, one can give up material desires, and as soon as one is freed from material desires, he is free from the repetition of birth and death, old age and disease. Hare Krishna. So very, very nice verse and very, very practical. Because devotional service to the Supreme Lord is very, very practical. It's not an armchair philosophy. We just talk about Bhagavatam. Or we just talk about chant holy name at a silent place. There is a proper time to do that, but we have to engage in the hard labor, because otherwise we are not like Haridas Thakur who can chant 24/7. I'm not sorry if anyone else can do that. That is great, but we know that in Kali Yuga, maybe except for a few rare souls, not everyone can do that. So therefore, we engage in divine austerity. Tapo yuktena. So that is mentioned. And then, like, for example, we're having Rath Yatra. Now that involves a lot of hard labor. Someone has to make some garlands, someone has to coordinate the decoration, someone has to cook, someone has to get some ingredients, and so many things. Communication has to be done, making flyer, announcing, making sure packing prasadam, and distributing prasadam, preparing for class, and preparing for and making sure everything goes smoothly. So many things. It's like a meditation. It's a samadhi actually. There will be no time to think of anything else, because we are absorbed in thinking of Krishna. So we should all have those services based on our desires, skills, abilities to please Krishna. There's so many ways we can do. We can engage ourselves in these austerities, deity worship, book distribution, prasad distribution, sharing. Prabhupada is mentioning that all these austerities, one must constantly be engaged. I'm just reading as it is. Constantly be engaged in the hard labor. Uh, so devotion doesn't mean just sit around and just casually just give classes, and so it's the hard labor involved in preaching, preparing books. Prabhupada would give so many challenges to devotees. Prabhupada said one time, this famous Chaitanya Charitamrita story, when it was being printed, they printed the whole thing in like 1 year, which all the volumes. It was like, they said, no, impossible. First, Prabhupada said, impossible is a word in Fool's Dictionary. So very, very hardworking, very, very hardworking in a Krishna conscious way, going door to door, distributing books. I was hearing Jagannath's Rath Yatra lecture. One devotee was mentioning it. It's the actual Rath Yatra. So many people are there. The weather is so hot in India. It's an austerity. Some people, Prabhuji was mentioning, some people come for Rath Yatra and then they sneak out and then go for shopping in Chandni Chowk. And then this is not the right mood. Austerity is necessary. Otherwise, we will just fall down. This will help us in purification. How? Sarvan kamar shanai. Shanai means very gradually. Shanai, this word comes. Jahu. One will be able to give up the bad desires, the desires to enjoy independent of the Lord, by engaging in deity worship and so many other spiritual activities. So this is mentioned here, and one will be again back home, back to Godhead, free from the cycle of birth and death. Okay, any other comments anyone has on this text? Okay, let's read the next one. Yes, someone wants to read this 27. So, dear Prabhu, you want to read?
Sure, Prabhu. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandapila, all praise to Sri Prabhupada. Text number 27. Griheshu, Dhareshu, Suteshu, Bandhushu, Vipottama, Syat, Dhana, Vajivatseshu, Akasya, Ratna, Bharana, Bharatishu, Ananta, Pose, Akro, Asan, Matin. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Mahârâja Ambarîsha gave up all attachments to household affairs, wives, children, friends, relatives, to the best of powerful elephants, to beautiful chariots, carts, horses, and inexhaustible jewels, and to ornaments, garments, and inexhaustible treasury. He gave up attachment to all of them, regarding them as temporary and material. Perfect. अनासक्तेष्य विषयान् यथा यथाहम् उपयुज्यता. Material possession can be accepted as far as they can be used in devotional service. Anukulena Krishnanu Anukulyasya Sankalpa Pratikulasya Varjanam. In preaching, many things considered material are needed. A devotee should not have any attachment for such involvement as house, wife, children, friends, cars. Mahârâja Ambarîsha, for example, had all such things, but he was not attached to them. This is the effect of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti prasedenu bhavo viraktir anyatra cha. Bhagavatam 11:42 verse. One who is advanced in devotional service has no attachment for material things, for sense enjoyment, but for preaching, to spread the glories of the Lord. He accepts such things without attachment. Anasaktesya vishayan yatraham upanujata. Everything can be used to the extent that can be engaged in Krishna service. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, wonderful verse where we can see that Ambarîsha Mahârâja, practically he was king of the whole world, but he did not have any attachment to wife, children, elephants, chariots, or whatever. And Prabhupada explains that he was completely surrendered onto Lord Krishna, and we should use whatever that is needed for our needs and also whatever is needed for Krishna's service. So we can see that how Srila Prabhupada, so many people gave, so many riches, but Prabhupada used everything in Krishna's service. He gave up everything, he surrendered everything. And even if it was a Rolls-Royce car or even a rickshaw, he did not have any differentiation between them because he used that in Krishna's service. So in the same way, if we can use whatever we have and whatever we do, whatever we think, whatever we eat, everything is centered around Lord Krishna, then it is kind of we are in samadhi, even though we are in Durvâsâ. Like Ambarîsha Maharaj, he was a king, but he was in kind of samadhi. That's what I understood. Please correct. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice words. You so nicely mention all the points. And not just you mention, actually you're showing by your example. That is a much difficult thing. Big classes, anyone can say big words. But to follow these principles in reality, only a sincere soul can do that, who's sincerely trying to see everything as a blessing of Lord. It's not mine, it's Krishna's. I'm just a caretaker. So I must use to the best of my ability for Krishna's service. Sometimes it's easy to tag, oh, it's Krishna's, oh, my house is Krishna's, oh, my car is for Krishna. But when there is a little request, then the reality comes out. At that time, how do we respond? when there is some request to use it for Krishna service. The time it will be tested. Because speaking, as I said, speaking is very easy. Anyone can say, like how I do. When one time, I'll tell you a story of Rasikananda I was reading. There was a few devotees were supposed to come, and it was very late in the night, like 2 a.m. And a few devotees at that time were traveling by walking, and somehow they ended up in this city. And Rasikananda's wife was maybe tired at 2 a.m., like an odd time, right? And then she said, sorry, we can't host Vaishnavas at this point. And he got mad in like a transcendental way, Rasikananda being a pure devotee. He said, how dare you say no to Vaishnavas? Because of your offense, your son will die. And his son died, actually. So, very transcendental. The point is, we should do our best. These are the examples to kind of tell us that how pure devotees think. So we can take some inspiration. Maybe we cannot artificially imitate those things, but at least we can gradually try to do better and better. Okay, next verse. Yes, Vasati Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Tasma adadharischakram pratyanika vayavaham ekanta bhakti bhavena prita vakta virakshanam. Prabhuji, which okay. Being very pleased by the unalloyed devotion of Mahârâja Ambarîsha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gave the king his disc, which is fearful to enemies and which always protects the devotee from enemies and adversities. Prabhuji, did we read? You already read those.
Which verse, Mataji?
I think
Yeah, I agree. I think we read all this.
we read all
Yes,
those.
Prabhuji. Yesterday I
Yeah,
read this verse.
until 30, right? 31?
30, yeah, until 36, I think 36 we read, right? 36 or, yeah.
Sorry, that's my mistake then.
Sorry, Prabhuji. I was also not very sure.
Okay, nonetheless, it's always all purifying, but we can move to the verse you say. Sorry, maybe you read these yesterday.
We read until 36.
I think 35 maybe, and now I'm checking the post from
35.
Until the bigger verse. Yeah, 35.
Dandavat Pranam, everyone. Text 36. Tam anarchati thim bhupaha pratyathana stanarhanaya yaya che vayavaharaya padamulam upagataha. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. After standing up to receive Durvâsâ Muni, King Ambarîsha offered him a seat and paraphernalia of worship. Then, sitting at his feet, the king requested the great sage to eat. So Ambarîsha Mahārāja, the great king, showed all the respects to the Durvâsâ Muni, and then tell him diligently to eat. Hare Krishna, back to you.
Thank you, Mataji, for helping us to point out to the right verse. So, we're talking about Durvâsâ Muni. Now the title chapter is Ambarîsha Mahârâja offended by Durvâsâ Muni. So now Durvâsâ Muni enters into the scene. We're talking about the Vrata. The Vrata, he had served nicely, done a lot of austerities, given a lot of charity. He was about to break his fast after serving everyone with wealth, with food, with everything, giving charity. He was about to break his fast. Just think about, you're about to take prasad and then suddenly this shows up. How will you feel? How will we feel? How he reacted? In a very nice way. Gave him the best guest reception. Offered him nice seat, paraphernalia of worship, like washing his feet, etc. Kind words. We have discussed about guest reception multiple times from the Vaishnava etiquette also. Kind words, offering seat, offering, maybe in those days, washing the feet was quite normal. Nowadays it may not be prevalent in very rare situations. So, and then requested to eat because that's the etiquette. So, talking about verse number 28, talking about Sudarshan, there's a very nice prayer to Sudarshan. Sudarshanam Mahajwala Koti Surya Samaprabha Ajnana Timirandhanam Vaikuntha Pradarshaka. Sudarshanam Mahajwala. Oh Sudarshan, your effulgence, Koti Surya Samaprabha, is like Koti Surya, like millions of suns put together. Your brilliance, your effulgence. Ajnana Timirandhana. You destroy Ajnana. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya. So we can chant this prayer to Sudarshan. Please destroy our darkness. Vaikuntha Abdha Pradarshaka. You show the path to Vaikuntha, back home, back to Godhead. It's a beautiful prayer to Sudarshan, which is mentioned by text 28. So it was given to Ambarîsha Mahārāja for his protection by the Lord. So, okay, so we read 36. Let's read 37. And then Mataji, you want to read?
Prabhu, I can read the next one. I need to do some computer work. Hariba.
Yes, Kashish Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam all devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text number 37. Pratinanda satam yancham kartumavashakam gatah nimmajja brahadhyayan kalindi salile shubhe. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Durvâsâ Muni gladly accepted the request of Mahārāja Ambarîsha, but to perform the regulative ritualistic ceremonies, he went to the river Yamuna. There he dipped into the water of the auspicious Yamuna and meditated upon the impersonal Brahman. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. Back to you.
Hare Krishna, thank you Mataji. Where is this whole thing happening? Anyone knows?
In Mahārāja's palace.
Mahārāja's palace. Okay, good try. I think we read yesterday, right? Anyone remembers?
There was a Yagyasthana Prabhuji.
Yes, Yagyasthana was there. What's the location of that?
Madhuban, Prabhuji.
Yes, very good. Another one. It's one of the 12 forests of Raja, right? So, in text number, I think around 30th, we read that. After the Kartik month, Ambarîsha Mahārāja fasted for 3 nights, bathed in the Yamuna river, and then at Madhuban, he worshipped Kṛṣṇa by Mahābhishek, offered clothing, garments, etc. So just think about he's the king of the 7, islands, which is a lot. We're not talking about just Earth, actually. We're talking about a lot more. This place was Madhuban. Actually, anyone knows where Dhruv Maharaj did tapasya? Dhruv Maharaj did tapasya at a certain place when his guru told him, Narad Muni.
That's also Madhuban, right?
Yes, that's a trick question. His answer is Madhuban, correct. So this Raja, we can imagine that so many great souls, not only in the previous Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, in the past, it's like eternal. So many great souls, even in the time of Ramayana, we hear about this Govardhan Leela, how Hanumanji was about to pick this, and then Govardhan Parvat, and then it was told that no, you don't pick this one because Govardhan has to assist in the next Yuga. So yeah, the point was, okay, river Yamuna was flowing there, and he accepted all the things and went to take bath to do his rituals and etc. Okay, next 38. Yes, Nandini Mataji, you want to read this one?
Yes, Prabhupada, Pranam devotees, Jai Srila Prabhupada. मुहूर्तार्धावशिष्ठायां द्वादशां पारणं प्रति चिन्तयामास धर्मज्ञो द्विजस्तद्ध्वमा सङ्कटे. Translation by His Divine Grace Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the meantime, only a muhurta of the Dwadashi day was left, on which to break the fast. Consequently, it was imperative that the fast be broken immediately. In this dangerous situation, the king consulted learned brahmanas. In the shloka, we see there was only a moment. Prabhupada translates this. Was remaining only for a half a moment. Muhurta ardha abhishtayam. And in the translation, it says that only muhurta of the Dwadashi day was left. In either case, the fast had to be broken immediately. To get the benefit of Ekadashi fasting, we have to break the fast during certain time. And according to that, the fast had to be broken. And so it has become a dangerous situation, sankate. And so as we read again and again that Kshatriyas always consulted learned Brahmanas, Vaishnavas. So how to rule the kingdom. So here Ambarîsha Maharaj is consulting learned Brahmanas what to do in this difficult situation. Back to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So the rules which we follow, Parana, right? Paran time is there next day, Dwadashi Paran time is basically the fast breaking time. So it's very important to break the fast at that time. In the previous Yuga, it was much more important. In Kali Yuga, still it's important, but not as important in the previous Yuga. Kali Yuga is the Yuga Dharma is Harinam Kirtan. There may be sometimes situations that one has to see. But the whole idea was for the welfare of the kingdom, not for one's own desires. It was a dharma sankata. The word used is dharma sankata. So why is it dharma sankata? Because he is in crossroads. And the crossroads is that at one point this great Durvâsâ Muni is there. He has come, but he has not taken honored prasadam. He has gone to do his rituals and take a bath in the Yamuna river. And on the other side, as per guest reception, the host cannot eat before the guest because the guest has come from long distance. It's his duty to serve the guest. So if he eats before the guest, it's a problem, right? It's insulting to the guest, especially in that time. Like a person like Durvâsâ Muni, you better not. One devotee said, you better not, play with him or mess around him, because he is like the avatar of Ashutosh. He gets easily angry. We have seen that multiple times. So that's one option. Another situation, if he does not break the fast, then the result of all the sacrifice, all the yajna, the tapa he has done will not be fruitful properly. So what to do, right? It's a very, very important lesson here that we are also in sometimes dharma sankata. What to do? There is, let's say, one devotee says, can you do this service? And the other devotee says, can you do this service? And we know we can't do both services together because we can't expand ourselves in two places, something like that. Or sometimes there could be two situations we want to do both the things. Looks like Ambarîsha Maharaj wanted to do both the things, but he can't do both the things because they are like, they don't go hand in hand. What do you call that? Counter.
Mutually exclusive, you want to say?
Yeah, mutually exclusive, or they can't be done, together. In short, they're mutually exclusive. So if he eats, then he breaks the fast and takes care of the kingdom. But if he does not eat, then the fast is not broken. The guest etiquette is there, but the welfare to the kingdom is lost. So what to do? Has anyone been in such a situation and ever where you felt very confused what to do in such a situation where there were two options or three options and you wanted to do both or all three, but you cannot because of the limitations, right? Anyone has experienced such situations or at any point? Never? Well, if you're pure devotees.
Nowadays, it happens so often because there are classes happening worldwide, and you want to attend two classes at the same time, and it's like so hard to decide.
Yes, that's also a good example. And sometimes there are like even bigger situations, like making, choosing one decision of the two. The famous example comes, the Mata Yashoda also had a dharma sankata in the Damodar Leela when the milk was boiling and Krishna was wanted to drink more milk. So what to do? That example is also shared. But the lesson is how to solve that dharma sankata. He did analysis. Chintaya, asa, dharmagyo. We have to approach dharmagyo dvija. We have to approach the self-realized souls. We have to approach senior Vaishnavas. We have to approach devotees who can help us to make decision based on dharma, based on the right path at that point. Because it's very important in life to, therefore we say counselor, mentor, or special friend, whatever you may call. The words are not that important. The essence is important, to seek guidance, to seek the seer. So that's what he did. He approached the Brahmanas. And we have already discussed these Brahmanas. He has already approached in the previous verses, the day before yesterday, we were talking about. He always ruled the kingdom under the guidance of Brahmanas. Not just so-called Brahmanas, the real Brahmanas, the Vaishnavas, who know the dharmagya, who can tell from the scriptures perspective. And any great ruler rules by those principles, not just by whimsically, okay, I feel like doing this, so I'll do this. Why? Because I feel like. What does Shastra say that? Does Vaishnava say that? Does Guru say that? Well, who cares about that? I just feel like that. This is not how Ambarîsha Maharaj did. So let's see how he solved that situation and what was the advice given to him in that point. Yes, Sampata Mataji, want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Brahmanati krame dosho dvadasyam yad aparane yad kritva sadhu me bhuyat adharmo vana mam spriset. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami of Ambasa kevalenatha karishye vrata paranam ahur abhakshanam vipra hi ashitam nasitam jatat. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The king said, to transgress the laws of respectful behavior toward the Brahmanas is certainly a great offense. On the other hand, if one does not observe the breaking of the fast within the time of Dwadasi, there is a flaw in one's observance of the vow. Therefore, O Brahmanas, if you think that it will be auspicious and not irreligious, I shall break the fast by drinking water. In this way, after consulting with the Brahmanas, the king reached his decision. For according to Brahmanical opinion, drinking water may be accepted as eating and also as not eating. Purport. When Mahârâja Ambarîsha, in his dilemma, consulted the Brahmanas about whether he should break the fast or wait for Durvâsâ Muni, apparently they could not give a definite answer about what to do. A Vaishnava, however, is the most intelligent personality. Therefore, Mahârâja Ambarîsha himself decided, in the presence of the Brahmanas, that he would drink a little water, for this would confirm that the fast was broken, but would not transgress the laws for receiving a Brahmana. In the Vedas, it is said, Apo snati tan. Can you scroll down, Prabhuji? Thank you. Snati tan naivasitam. Naivanasitam. This Vedic injunction declares that the drinking of water may be accepted as eating or as not eating. Sometimes in our practical experience, we see that some political leader adhering to satyagraha will not eat but will drink water. Considering that drinking water would not be eating, Mahârâja Ambarîsha decided to act in this way. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, back to you.
So what did you learn, Mataji, from this verse you want to share? Sampata Mataji, you want to share your insights, reflections?
I don't know, Prabhuji. I would like if you would explain it.
You're such a sincere soul, so humble. Always eager to chant and serve Krishna. Thank you. So, in the last verse we discussed that he did chintan. He like how to solve this dharma sankata. He came up with the idea that drinking water, I shall break the fast by drinking water. It's simultaneously eating and not eating. So the fast will be broken, but still it's not eating. Achinte bheda bhed. But he did not just, oh, I feel like this is a good idea, let's go ahead. No. In this way, after consulting with Brahmanas, so he proposed his idea. My dear Brahmanas, you are more knowledgeable. You know the Dharmagya. You are the Dharmagya. After consulting with them, the king reached to his decision. Very, very important. So even if we sometimes are sure about this seems to be right, we can always check with Vaishnavas, with Brahmanas, so that we don't make a bad decision, especially for critical. If it's a small thing, should I get up at this time or that time, or should I eat dinner or not? We don't need to ask everything. But the point is that if it's something very critical, very important, we must ask. So in this was a critical thing, because at one side the whole welfare of the kingdom, and one side the great Brahmana like Durvâsâ Muni getting upset. So he did check and then simultaneously eating and not eating. One very interesting situation which comes to my mind is when Ashwatthama he murdered the 5 innocent children, sleeping young children of the Pandavas. They were sleeping. And it was a very tough situation for everyone. Just imagine, the Ashwatthama chopped off their heads while they were sleeping. It's against the Yuddha Niti. It's against the moral conducts of the war. You can't kill like a sleeping person. But he did that. He's the son of Dronacharya, the guru of Pandavas. So Arjuna and Bhima wanted to kill him, and then they brought him, they bound him and brought to Draupadi. So Kṛṣṇa was present, Arjuna was present, Bhima was present, Draupadi was present. So Draupadi said, well, of course, everyone was angry upon this and upset about this whole situation. But Bhima said, let's kill him, because he has done such a heinous act. And Mata Draupadi, being a woman and being a mother, had so much compassion. It's like an epitome of compassion, actually. She said, I don't want Kripi to be in the same situation as me. This is called empathy. She thought of her. She put herself in her other person's shoes. She has already lost her husband, Dronacharya. Kripi, the wife of Dronacharya, the daughter of Kripacharya. She's already lost her husband. I don't want her to lose her child as well. So kindly forgive him. Don't kill him. Now it's a dharma sakkat for Arjuna. Bhima is saying, kill him. Draupadi is saying, don't kill him. What to do? Then he consulted Guru Sadhu Shastra. Guru Sadhu Shastra Vakya Chitite Koriya. Sometimes we discussed yesterday, sometimes Kṛṣṇa comes personally, sometimes through his representatives, sometimes to his 3 teachings. All those will help us to take right decisions. So Kṛṣṇa said, well, the money, so they took out the money which Ashwatthama had and basically did some very bad insult and like chop off the hairs and stuff. And that insult is like more bad or worse than killing. So in that way, he was killed and not killed simultaneously. So interesting situation. But these dilemmas, how to handle dilemmas, how to make the right choices. If we have the guidance of Guru Sadhu Shastra, representatives of the Lord, then we'll make those right decisions. So, any other comments, additions, anyone? So we must always seek the Seer. That's the title for today. Okay. 41. Canto, you want to read? Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Ityapam prasaya rajasri chintayan manasa jutam pratyachasta kurukshrestha dijagamanameva sa. Translation by Prabhupada. O best of Kuru dynasty, after he drank some water, King Ambarîsha, meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, waited for the return of the great mystic Durvâsâ Muni. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji,
Thank
you are
you.
muted. Oh, sorry.
Oh, thank you, Mataji. Yeah, sorry, I was muted. So, after he drank, he was meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart. So it's not that he was feeling, oh, done. Now I found a solution. I can just. So he just drank a little water to break the fast. His intention was not to cause any disturbance to the Muni. His heart was to serve both the Muni and the kingdom. And he was meditating upon the Supreme Lord, who was the Bhoktaram Yakkitapasam. And he was waiting, right? Just think about this personality. He has served thousands and thousands of people. He has been doing this vrata. And now suddenly this Muni comes and now looks like he is not showing up, right? With all his disciples. Ambarîsha Maharaj is not agitated. Why do you have to come at this moment only when I was about to take my feast? After fast, I was about to feast and then you just showed up and broke my plan. No, he's meditating upon the Supreme Lord. He's very grateful that he's getting chance to serve more devotees of the Lord. So he's patiently waiting. Oh, Muni has come, he'll just be back in a while and I'll get chance to serve the great Durvâsâ Muni. So very, very deep pastime. If we go into the pastime, if we go into the mood of Ambarîsha Maharaj, how he is so conscious of his act, how he's so grateful, how he's so discussing with the Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, how he does not want to offend anyone, Durvâsâ Muni, how he wants to serve the kingdom, how he's meditating upon the Supreme Lord, how he's so detached from the worldly things, wealth, prestige, name, fame, recognition, and completely attached to Kṛṣṇa. Because ultimately that's the goal of everything. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat johosi dasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, as the Prabhu was mentioning, whatever you eat, whatever you offer and give away, do that as an offering to me. So, lot of lessons here. We'll read maybe one more verse today. Any other comments anyone has? Okay. Yes. Anyone wants to read who has not yet read today?
I can read from
Ji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to everyone. Durvâsâ Yamuna Kulat Krutavashyaka Agataha Pratnya Bhinasti Tatasya Budhe Cheshtitam Dhiyaha. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. After executing the ritualistic ceremonies to be performed at noon, Durvâsâ returned from the bank of the Yamuna. The king received him well, offering all respect. But Durvâsâ Muni, by his mystic power, could understand that King Ambarîsha had drunk water without his permission. So here we can see that Ambarîsha Mahârâja was waiting for this Durvâsâ Muni, and now the Durvâsâ Muni has come back, and because he's a mystic power, he did understand that the Ambarîsha Mahârâja has been drunk the water without his permission, so he broke his fast, and that's what he understood according to this shlokas, Prabhu. Also, I have a question, Prabhu. In the last couple of shlokas, we just read it that drinking a water can be break the fast as well as not break the fast. Means how does this applies actually? Yes and no also. Because, for example, the Ekadashi, like the Nirjala Ekadashi just went. one take the water on that day, it's considered that he broke the fast or something like that. He broke his vow, basically, not fast, because it's a nirjala. So I am not a little bit clear on that concept. Like, yes, broke the fast, not broke the fast. Like that.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, for Nirjala Ekadashi, those who do fasting without water. That's like some devotees actually do every Ekadashi Nirjala. Great. That's great. So actually, that's how your Nirjala Ekadashi come into being, right? We read the story on the day of the morning program, the day before, I believe. Bhimasena could not do the other Ekadashi. Now, other Ekadashi he could not do Nirjala. That's very important point. He said he could, it's not that he was eating, paratha and gulab jamun and laddu on that day. He was only eating the fruits and roots, like non-anna, right? It's not that he was eating grains on that day. That's very clear. I think there is some misunderstanding there. But he said all the 24 Ekadashis, I can't do Nirja. So this is my understanding. That means other people, Pandavas, etc., were probably doing Nirjal, but Bhimsen has a Vrakodara, Agni is there. The Agni is the belly, the fire of the belly is too strong. So he could not do all Nirjala. That means he was taking some fruit, some juice, maybe some non-grain prasad. So for those who are doing non-grain prasad on Ekadashi, then they take grains and they buy Krishna's Mahaprasad. That's how it's broken. For Nirjala Ekadashi, if someone is doing without water, then they take water and then that's considered broken in the Paran time. So that's the principle. Now, how do we understand this particular point? It's considered broken and not broken. It's we have to understand that because scriptures are mentioning this. The Brahmanas are mentioning it, who are Shastragya, Dharmagya, we just read. So if the scriptures are saying something, that's our proof. We may not be able to understand everything. Like if I tell you this pen works and does not work, like how do you understand that? Right? We can't understand, right? So
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much. I just would like to add a little bit. Ekadashi, definition of Ekadashi is not eating grains, right? If I ask you what is Ekadashi, that first answer would be not eating grains. So in that sense, I believe if one has drunk water, it still hasn't, broken Ekadashi fast, is my understanding, in addition to what you said. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Is it okay, Prabhu? Is it helpful and not helpful?
Thank you, Prabhu. I think we have to accept the Shastra, that's all.
Yes. So one time, Radhanath Swami Maharaj was taking a yatra to Vrindavan, and then someone was asking a very logical question. So, in the night, Vrindavan collapses, in the day it expands. So how does it happen? So we cannot understand all these esoteric pastimes. Someone was asking, in Dwarka, Krishna's family, there were like millions of teachers for his grandkids and great grandkids. Now, if you go and you ask, well, millions of people can't even fit here. What about them? There were millions of teachers to teach the kids. You can imagine like how many kids must be or great grandkids must be there. We can't imagine that because let's say one teacher teaching 10 kids or 100 kids, I don't know the numbers, but so we can't imagine. Same with the Vanarsena. The monkeys, their numbers is mentioned in crores and crores. How do you manage those many monkeys? So some things, we can't understand. Many things we can't understand with our rationale here because it's very limited. Krishna is unlimited, his activities are unlimited, his pastimes are unlimited. So are his Vaishnavas, pure devotees, Vaishnavana Kriya Mudra, Abhigyana Bhujai. So we just have to accept the Shastra. If we understand or try to understand a little bit, that's fine. We can try. But then we have to accept the scriptures, the words of the Bhagavatam. And
the point of view of just Mataji said that if someone doesn't eat the grain and he drinks water, that means it's not broken. But someone doing the nirjala and drinks the water, it's broken. So the water, so that way it fits into that category. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. So let's read one more last verse for today. Which one did we just read? This one? You read 42, Prabhu? Yeah, so the king received him. So let's 43, one last verse. Anyone would like to read today?
Yeah, I can read it.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna devotees, text 43. Manyuna prachalad gatro bru kuti kutilan naha kutilan nannaha bubukshitascha sutaram krinjad jalim abhasta. Translation by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Still hungry, Durvâsâ Muni, his body trembling, his face curved and his eyebrows crooked in a frown, angrily spoke as follows to King Ambarîsha, who stood before him with folded hands. So this straightforward, Durvâsâ Muni is really upset that, according to him anyway, he knows that King Ambarîsha drank the water and he considers that as the fast being broken. So, thank you, Prabhu. Back to you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Very, very interesting. Very interesting here. Still hungry. as if Ambarîsha Maharaj has eaten a chappan bhoga, right? Ambarîsha Maharaj is also hungry. He just took little water to break the fast. But now here we see this whole chapter is a classic. The Ambarîsha Maharaj's classic example is, I think Gauranga Darshan Prabhu shared this, that how the power of bhakti wins over the power of meditation or impersonal meditation. He was meditating on the impersonal. We just read that. He's the power of mysticism. But Ambarîsha Maharaj, pure devotion. He was also hungry. He's also not eaten for many days. He has also done a lot of charity, tapasya, yajna, dana, everything. How is he standing? Kritanjali, folded hands. How is Durvâsâ Muni's expression? Trembling, face curved, eyebrows frowning. How dare this person, Ambarîsha, eat before me? He's angry. He's frowning. His body is trembling. You have to go into the pastime. But Ambarîsha Maharaj standing, folded hands, Kritanjali. Kritanjali used, Anjali used. Also, we read that word in the Satyavrata Muni, how he was offering water in Kritamala river. Kritanjali, he got the fish in his hands. So, very, very interesting. And then we'll continue to read tomorrow as well, how we'll draw parallels between these two personality and in such contrasting nature. One is a pure devotee, one is a mystic yogi meditating on impersonal Brahman. So very nice parallels we'll draw. Any other comments, any additions here so far? I think tomorrow is off. Oh, yes, Mataji. Sir.
Prabhuji, just one question I had in my mind. You just taught us today that Dhruv Maharaj and Ambarîsha Maharaj has done their austerities in Vrindavan. So was it the Bhaumya Vrindavan which we are living today?
Vraja, it's the Vraja Bhumi. It has 12 forests. Vrindavan is one of them, and Madhuvan is one of them. So yeah, it's the same Vraja area, the 84 Kos Vraja Mandala. These forests are part of that. Kamyavan, Lohavan, Madhuvan, etc. So yes, this is
It's
and the
Bhaumya Vrindavan.
Yamuna River passing in that area. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Tomorrow is off for everyone. I was thinking we can read in the morning, if that's okay for all. Is that off? Is it in
Yes.
the morning?
Sure.
Okay. So I'll post it. It's still morning tomorrow. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai, Shri Ambarîsha Mahārāja ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Yeah.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Sarvesva
kripa
Kripasindhubhyev
sindhubhyeva
Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
Thank you very much.
Hari
Hare
Prabhu.
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.